This video is in the form of an audiobook. It is about a young man named Chris. You think you're lazy. You beat yourself up for procrastinating. You wonder why, despite having dreams, you just can't seem to act. But what if I told you, you're not lazy? You're just misaligned. And what's missing isn't motivation, it's clarity. In today's story, we'll follow Chris, a man in his mid-30s who thought he was a failure. But what he discovered changed the way he approached life forever. So grab a coffee, take a walk, or just sit back. This audiobook-style story might just help you rewrite your own. Chris stared at the glowing screen of his laptop. Again, it was 2:12 p.m. He had a deadline. He had coffee. He even had a checklist. But his fingers hovered over the keyboard, doing nothing. He sighed, closed the tab, opened YouTube, just for a quick break. And the cycle continued. Chris wasn't always like this. In college, he was ambitious, full of ideas and energy. But now, he felt like he was dragging himself through molasses. He blamed himself. You're just lazy. Undisciplined. What's wrong with you? And each time he failed to follow through, that voice got louder. But here's the thing. Chris didn't lack dreams. He had them, a list of business ideas, fitness goals, books to write. What he lacked was alignment. He didn't know what truly mattered to him anymore. He was working on things he didn't believe in, chasing goals he thought he should pursue. He didn't realize yet, the reason he felt stuck was because his internal compass was scrambled. And laziness was just a symptom. Chris started reading self-help books. He downloaded all the apps, Notion, Todoist, even habit trackers. He created beautiful dashboards, time-blocked his days, set goals for the next 5 years. It worked for a while. He felt the rush of productivity. But then, just a few weeks in, the old cycle returned. Back to YouTube. Back to guilt. It didn't make sense. He had the tools. He had the plans. But he didn't feel alive doing any of it. Why? Because high performers don't just organize their time. They organize their values. Chris hadn't asked himself the most important question. Do I actually want the life I'm building? He was climbing a ladder that was leaning on the wrong wall. His goals weren't his. They were inherited. From society. From family. From his past self. Chris was stuck not because he lacked effort, but because he was investing his energy in directions that drained his soul. One night, Chris went for a walk. No podcast. No phone. Just silence. He asked himself a question he hadn't considered in years. What do I actually care about? At first, nothing came. Then, a memory. He remembered helping his friend start a business years ago. Designing their brand. Mapping out strategy. Solving creative problems. He was electric back then. Hours would pass like minutes. That spark, he hadn't felt it in a long time. He realized something powerful. He wasn't lazy. He was disconnected. Chris began journaling daily. Not about tasks, but about alignment. What energizes me? What drains me? What am I curious about, even when no one's watching? The more he wrote, the clearer it got. Chris didn't need to change who he was. He needed to return to who he already was before guilt and pressure rewired his brain. With new clarity, Chris made a bold decision. He quit 80% of what was on his plate. He let go of the productivity systems that felt like punishment. He deleted his bloated task list. And he built a simple daily system rooted in identity. Each day he answered 3 questions. What's one thing I'm genuinely excited to explore today? What's one uncomfortable action that moves me toward my new vision? How can I support my future self, even in a small way? That was it. No complicated templates. No rigid rules. And for the first time in years, work didn't feel like self-betrayal. He started waking up with a sense of direction, not because he was forcing discipline, but because he was finally aligned with something real. When we stop trying to force ourselves into other people's definitions of success, we unlock a deeper power, self-respect. And Chris began walking in it. 6 months later, Chris looked at a photo of himself from a year ago. Same man, but a completely different energy in his eyes. Back then, he thought he was broken. Now he realized he was just trying to outrun a life he didn't actually want. Today, Chris still procrastinated sometimes. He still had off days. But he no longer let those moments define him. Why? Because he saw the truth. Laziness is a label we put on people whose energy isn't aligned with their environment. When you're forced to operate in systems that suffocate you, it's not laziness. It's self-preservation. Chris started helping others find alignment too. He told them, don't fix your productivity first. Fix your direction. And watch your energy come back. Because when you're on a path that's truly yours, you don't need to beg yourself to take action. You want to show up. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're just out of sync with your values. So let's fix that. Drop a comment below and tell us. What's one thing that truly energizes you, even when no one's watching? Because that thing, that's where the real you lives. And that's where your next chapter begins.